Ginger is a classical example for rhizome. Thorn is particularly developed by the plants to avoid themselves being eaten by the browsing animals. What do you mean by xerophytic conditions? Where there is scarcity of water. Xeric condition means hot conditions where the temperature are extremes like desert. Hello everyone, welcome back to session 4 of this very interesting chapter called Morphology of Flowering Plants. Myself, B. Shobarani from the Department of Biology, Vidyashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence. What did we learn in the last session? Hope you remember that we studied about a very important part of a plant body, that is the shoot system. That is the shoot system. So a plant body has two very important parts. One is called the root system. The other one is called the shoot system. What is the shoot system? Shoot system is the ascending part of the plant body. That is the part which is above the soil. And the shoot system is positively phototrophic and negatively geotrophic. So we have studied all that in the last session. As we know that, what is the normal or the original function of a stem? To give out, as we already know that the shoot system is more complicated than the root system. Why do we say that the shoot system is more complicated than the root system? Because it has many parts like the leaves, the branches, the flowers, the fruits, right? So it is more complicated. So the stem bears what? The fruits, the leaves, the branches, etc. Sometimes it also carries on the process of photosynthesis when it is green in color. So as we know that these are the normal functions of a stem, but sometimes the stem gets itself modified, and that we call it as stem modification. We call it as what? Stem modification. Just like the root also undergoes modification. What is modification then? Let me brief up once again. What is modification? Slight change from the original appearance. A slight change from the original appearance. Why does a stem undergo modification? Its usual function is to bear branches, leaves, flowers, fruits, and also to carry on photosynthesis when green in color. But why does it undergo modification? Stem undergoes modification to perform some special functions. Other than the original function, if at all it wants to perform some special function, it gets itself modified, and that we use the word called stem modification. Why? What are the special functions then? First and foremost is to what? To give mechanical support. Then second one, to store food. Third, for defense. So to give mechanical support, to store reserve food materials, and for defense, it gets itself modified. So what are we going to study in today's session? We are going to study about the modifications of stem or stem modifications. Whereas here, the stem modification can be broadly classified into 3 types. Number 1, called underground stem modification. Second one is called subaerial modification, stem modification, and the third one is called aerial stem modification. So first one is called what? Underground stem modification. So the stem undergoes modification below the soil. Why? To store the reserve food material. Subaerial stem modification and aerial stem modification. What are the first? Let us understand the examples. Number 1, that is the underground stem modification. Number 1, bulb. Second one, tuber. 3, rhizome. And 4, corm. So what are the 4 very important examples for underground stem modification? One is bulb, tuber, rhizome, and corm. Moving on to the stem aerial modification. All the examples are very, very important. This particular concept, what I am explaining in today's session, is very important from examination point of view. Usually they ask this in the exam. So just pay attention to what I am explaining. So subaerial stem modification. What are the examples? Runner, then sucker, then stolen, then offset. In the coming slide, I am going to explain each one with a suitable example and a beautiful diagram. This is just a general classification of stem modification. Moving on to the third one, that is called aerial stem modification. Tendril, thorn, phylloclad and cladode. So what are the examples for underground stem modification? Bulb, tuber, rhizome and corm. What are the examples for subaerial stem modification? Runner, sucker, stolen and offset. What are the examples for aerial stem modification? Tendril, thorn, phylloclad and cladode. So this is the general classification of stem modification. As I said, what do you mean by stem modification? It is a slight change. Stem also undergoes some modification to perform some special functions like what? To give mechanical support, to store reserve food material and also for defense and also to carry on photosynthesis. When it is green in color, it also undergoes what? Photosynthesis. Then as I said, we classify the stem modification into three modifications. What is it? Underground stem modification, that is below the soil. The stem undergoes modification below the soil. Subaerial, neither underground nor aerial, in between, it is called subaerial stem modification. And aerial, completely above that is in the air, that is called aerial stem modification. Tendril, thorn, phyllocladode and cladode. Moving on to the first one, that is underground stem modification. First example is what? Bulb. I think most of you have, like in everyday life we come across this very good example. What is it? Onion. The scientific name is what? Allium cepa. Onion, Allium cepa. Right? Now, moving on to the first example, that is bulb. It is an underground stem. I think all of you know the onion is grown inside the soil. So it is an underground stem swollen like a bulb, hence the name bulb. I think usually you might have observed in an onion will have what? Scaly leaves. Cluster of adventitious roots below. Usually you can see these are called adventitious roots. Here in the picture you can see the adventitious roots. What are adventitious roots? Roots neither develop from the radicle nor from the base of the stem. Hope you remember I have explained all this in the root system. So it is an underground. How do we define a bulb? It is an underground stem swollen like a bulb bearing what? Cluster. What do you mean by cluster? Group of adventitious roots below, and terminal bud and axillary buds are surrounded by, here you can see, surrounded by many scaly leaves in a concentric manner. Hope you remember when we cut an onion, we get concentric rings like this. Don't we get when we cut an onion? So this is called concentric rings. This is called concentric rings. So what is bulb? Bulb is a classical example for underground stem modification, and it has undergone stem modification for what? Why do we eat onion? It has reserve food material. For reserve food material. All of us know that onion also has what? Medicinal value. So it is having lot of medicinal value also, and it is having what? It is having stored reserve food material. So what is bulb? Bulb is an underground stem swollen like a bulb bearing a cluster of adventitious roots below, and the terminal buds and the axillary buds are surrounded by what? Scaly leaves. Here you can see that it is covered by scaly leaves in a concentric manner. Example, onion. And as I said, the scientific name is Allium cepa. Even you can come across even garlic, Allium sativum. Allium sativum, that is garlic also belongs to this, and even garlic also has medicinal value, and it is having concentric layers. You hope you might have come across in garlic also, right? So that is about bulb. Moving on to the next very important example for the underground stem modification, that is tuber. Who has not seen potato, right? Potato is a very good, we can call it as a starchy food, which acts as a binding agent. So most of the food what we prepare, we use this potato as a binding agent because of its starchy nature, right? And what is tuber? And I think all of you might have come across the eyes. You can see the buds. These are called as what? Buds, or what we use the word called eyes, which are also called as vegetative structures. Vegetative structures. So what is tuber? This is a swollen tip of an underground branch which arises from the axil of a lower leaf on stem, and the tuber is more or less how? Round, with full of stored food in the form of what? Starch. As I said, it is starchy food, and it has on its surface number of depressions. And what do you call those depressions as? Eyes. And what are eyes? Eyes are nothing but the vegetative structures which help in vegetative propagation. As we have already discussed, asexual reproduction in plants is also called as vegetative propagation, and the plant parts which take part in the process of reproduction are called as vegetative propagules or vegetative structures. In case of potato, the vegetative structures are nothing but the eyes. So what is tuber? Tuber is a swollen tip of an underground branch which arises from the axil of a lower leaf on stem. The tuber is more or less round in shape. Here you can see it is round in shape with full of stored food in the form of starch, and it has on its surface number of depressions called eyes, and eyes are nothing but the vegetative structures. So potato, Solanum tuberosum is the scientific name. Hope you have understood about bulb and also about tuber. Classical example for bulb is what? Onion. And the classical example for tuber is what? Potato. Moving on to the next underground stem modification, that is rhizome, that is ginger. More or less the things what I am explaining we use in our daily life, may it be onion, may it be potato, or may it be ginger. And particularly at this point of time when we are facing the coronavirus, you might have come across, we use more of ginger now. Ginger is going to boost the immunity in our body so that we can fight against this deadliest virus called coronavirus. So hope you know in everyday life, even we use this ginger for tea also, ginger tea and all, right? So it has lot of medicinal value also. Ginger has lot of medicinal value. So rhizome. So ginger is a classical example for rhizome. What is it? It is a prostate thick stem creeping horizontally under the surface of the soil. How we can see it grows horizontally like this, and it has nodes and internodes. Here you can see the small nodes and internodes. These are called nodes, and the distance between two nodes is called what? Internodes. You just sow it wherever you come across nodes and internodes in the soil, it grows. Again, ginger, that is rhizome, is a vegetative structure which takes part in the process of vegetative reproduction or asexual reproduction. So that is rhizome. What is rhizome? It is a prostate thick stem creeping horizontally under the surface of the soil. It has nodes and internodes. It bears some brown scaly leaves. If you have observed carefully this ginger, it has scaly leaves on it at the nodes and ends in a terminal bud. Here you can see the buds here. So what are these? These are vegetative structures. These are vegetative structures which take part in the process of asexual reproduction. So classical example for rhizome is what? Ginger. Hope you in everyday life we come across these examples. It is not like very new. It is not like we are seeing them for the first time. Almost all the things what we come across in plant, we come across in our everyday life. Moving across corm, even this also, I think all of you might have come across, we use this in our daily kitchen for making so many dishes also, right? So what is this? Corm. It is a thick form of rhizome consisting of solid, you can see this is a solid structure, fleshy underground stem growing in the vertical direction. It is growing in the vertical direction. It is more or less spherical in shape. Here you can see it is spherical in shape and often somewhat flattened. So it is flattened from top to bottom and contains a large amount of food material, mostly in the form of starch. As I said, all these are the classical examples where the stem has undergone modification. For what? For storage of food. For storage of food. All these are the classical examples where the stem has undergone modification underground to store the reserve food materials. May it be the bulb, may it be the tuber, may it be the rhizome, or may it be the corm. All these are the classical examples where the stem has undergone modification for storage of reserve food material. Hope you have understood what is rhizome. Rhizome is a prostate thick stem creeping horizontally under the surface of the soil, and it has what? Nodes and internodes. It bears some brown scaly leaves at the nodes and ends in the terminal bud. Classical example is what? Ginger. You can see in this beautiful picture the ginger. Then corm. As I said, it is a thick form of rhizome consisting of solid fleshy underground stem growing in the vertical direction, and it is more or less what? Spherical in shape or often somewhat flattened from top to bottom and contains what? Large amount of reserve food material in the form of what? In the form of starch. Classical example is what? Yam, that is Amorphous. These two are also the classical examples where the stem has undergone modification for food storage. Moving on to the next part, that is the stem, that is the subaerial stem modifications. Till now we were studying about the underground stem modifications. What are the examples for underground stem modification? Bulb. For bulb, example is onion. For tuber, second one is tuber, example is potato. Third one is rhizome, example is what? Example for rhizome is ginger. Fourth one is what? Corm, example is yam or Amorphous. Moving on to the next part of the stem modification, that is the subaerial stem modification. As I said, what do you mean by subaerial? Neither underground nor aerial. Hence it is called subaerial stem modification. What is the example you are going to learn? One is called runner, the other one is called stolon. What is runner then? It is a creeping stem with long internodes running horizontally on the soil surface and develops root at the nodes. Many such runners are produced by the mother plant and they spread out on the ground in all directions. A very good example is what? Oxalis. Here you can see here the oxalis. Here you can see the flowers like this and it grows like this. So you can see like this. So you can see the roots like this. So that is oxalis. So it is a creeping stem with long internodes. So here you can see the long internodes running horizontally on the soil surface and develops root at the nodes. Here you can see. And many such runners are produced by the mother plant and they spread out on the ground in all directions. So when it is cut, it develops into a new plant. So this is a classical example for runner. Oxalis is a classical example for runner. Moving across the next, that is stolon. Here you find that it is a slender lateral branch which arises from the base of the stem. It grows obliquely upwards to some extent and bends on the ground, developing roots. Here you can see the classical example, that is the wild strawberry or Fragaria indica. It is called wild strawberry. Wild strawberry. So it is a slender lateral branch which rises from the base of the stem. It grows obliquely upwards to some extent and bends on the ground, developing roots at the tip and producing buds at successive stages. So example for stolon is what? Wild strawberry. So subaerial stem modification. All this time in the previous slide we studied about underground stem modification. We are going to deal with the subaerial stem modification. Two examples here. What is we are going to study is one is runner, the other one is stolon. Runner, example oxalis. Stolen, example is wild strawberry. Runner, what is a runner? It is a creeping stem with long internodes running horizontally on the soil surface and develops roots at the nodes. Many such runners are produced by the mother plant, and when it detaches or when it cuts from the mother plant, it develops into a new plant. So as I said, runner is also an example for example for vegetative structure which takes part in the process of vegetative reproduction. Then moving across the stolon, and it is a slender lateral branch which arises from the base of the stem, and it grows obliquely upwards to some extent and bends on the ground, developing roots at the tip and producing buds at successive stages. Example is wild strawberry. So for subaerial stem modification, what are the examples you are going to give? One is runner. For runner, what is the example? Oxalis. For stolen, what is the example? Wild strawberry. Moving across, the next very important example for subaerial modification is sucker. I think all of you might have come across chrysanthemum. Kannadadalli helbeku andre sevantike hoovu. And it is a very common flower which we come across in our everyday life. So sucker also is an example for what? For vegetative propagules, which takes part in the process of vegetative reproduction. Sucker. What is sucker? See here, you can see the beautiful picture of this chrysanthemum, different colors, right? You can see yellow, orange, pink, right? Here you can see dark pink, right? So you can see the white also. So all you come across differently colored chrysanthemum, which is a classical example for sucker. What is a sucker then? It is a lateral branch developing from the underground part of the stem. So it is a lateral branch developing from the underground part of the stem at its node, and that grows obliquely upwards and gives rise to a leafy shoot. Usually you might have come across like this. Here so it grows obliquely like this. So this is an example for chrysanthemum, right? That is chrysanthemum. So here sucker, it is a lateral branch developing from the underground part of the stem at its node and grows obliquely upwards, giving rise to the shoot. Example is chrysanthemum. Offset, a very beautiful picture of eichhornia, or it is also called as water hyacinth. See this beautiful picture. This is called the terror of Bengal. It was brought to India because of its beautiful leaves. Here see how beautiful the leaves are, right? And it was brought to India because of its beautiful leaves, but now it has become an invasive weed. It has become an invasive weed. What do you mean by invasive weed? That it spreads all over the water surface, depleting the water from oxygen and thereby killing the aquatic animals. So it has called terror of Bengal. So it is a very good example for offset. So offset is also a vegetative propagule which takes part in the process of vegetative reproduction. Why it spreads so very fast on the surface of the water? Because it is that is offset. When it is detached, then it spreads so very fast. So what is it? This is a short thickened horizontal branch arising in the axil of the lower leaf. It is shorter and stouter than a runner and is found only in the rosette type of plant. Here you can see this is called rosette. Just all over it is spread, and it produces what? Tuft of leaves above and tuft of roots below. Here you can see the tuft of roots like this. Tuft means what? Group of. Here you can see, and see how many, like you can see the small offsets. So that is how it is going to spread all over the water body, depleting the water from oxygen, thereby killing the aquatic animals. Why the aquatic animals die? Because they are deprived of oxygen. This absorbs all the oxygen that is found in the water body. Obviously, when there is no oxygen, the animals are going to die. Particularly, you might have come across the aquatic fishes where they come to the surface of the water to observe, to take in the dissolved oxygen. So that dissolved oxygen is not found found in such water bodies where you come across this alien species called water hyacinth. Hence it is called what? Terror of Bengal. Now it is very difficult to avoid this weed because it has completely spread all over the water body and it is very difficult to eradicate it now. So it was brought to India because of its beautiful leaves, but now it is so very difficult and it has become an alien species and thereby killing most of the aquatic animals because it absorbs all the oxygen and depriving the oxygen from the water body, thereby killing the aquatic animals. First example was what? Runner. Runner example oxalis. Stolen wild strawberry. Sucker example chrysanthemum. Offset eichhornia or water hyacinth. And one more example you can take pistia, which is also called as water lettuce. So sucker, it is a lateral branch developing from the underground part of the stem at its node that grows obliquely upwards and give rise to a leafy shoot. Example chrysanthemum. Then offset, this is a short thickened horizontal branch arising in the axil of a lower leaf. It is shorter and stouter than a runner and is found only in the rosette type of plants, and it produces what? Tuft of leaves. Here you can see that tuft. Tuft means what? Group of leaves above, and that is what is the beauty of this water hyacinth. And because of this beautiful leaves, it was brought to India and now it has become what? An invasive weed. Weed means what? Unwanted plant, and it is of no use. But see, it is going to cause a problem to the aquatic animals as it is going to absorb all the oxygen and kill the aquatic animals, and tuft of roots below. So it is going to form a group of a tuft of roots below. So example eichhornia or pistia, or otherwise we call it as water lettuce. Moving on to the next very important concept, that is aerial stem modification. Till now we studied about underground stem modification, subaerial stem modification and aerial stem modification. We are talking about stem modification. Why does a stem undergo modification? To serve some special functions. What are the three types of stem modification? One is called underground stem modification, one is called subaerial stem modification, and we are moving on to the third type of stem modification, that is called aerial stem modification. First example is what? Tendril. All of you might have come across a spring-like structure. Here you can see the tendrils here. See in this beautiful picture, this is a picture of a cucumber. You know, it is having a weak stem. So what do they do? Wherever they have weak stem, they start developing the tendrils and they help in what? Anchorage. So they take the support of the other plants and start climbing to reach to get sunlight to carry on the process of photosynthesis. So you might have come across grapevine and even cucumber. So what is a tendril? It is a thin spirally coiled branch that develops from axillary or terminal bud. They coil around a supporter and help the plant to climb. As I said, when they have a weak stem. So why this type of tendrils are developed? When they have a weak stem, they cannot stand on their own. So they start developing this spring-like structures, coil-like structures, and take the support of the other plants, and they try to get the sunlight to carry on the process of photosynthesis. So classical example you can take is grape and cucumber. Many examples, even pumpkin, you come across cucurbita family also, you come across the tendrils. So you can see they are spring-like structures. So when you stretch them, they get back, they spread like this, and when you leave them, they coil around like a spring. So spring-like structure, that is a very good mechanism for them to climb. So they take the support. So tendril is for example you can give for tendril is grape and cucumber. Thorn, very very important. I think even many of plants you would have come across thorn. A classical example is rose. Rose is such a beautiful flower, and you might have come across when we pluck the flowers, we should take care to see that, otherwise we will be pricked by the sharp thorns. So why this thorn? Thorn is particularly developed by the plants to avoid themselves being eaten by the browsing animals. So usually the animals browsing animals will start eating the plants. So thorn is one such mechanism which is adapted by the plants to avoid being eaten by the browsing animals. So what is a thorn? Usually you might have come across a thorn is nothing but a hard pointed structure where sometimes the stipules will develop into a hard spiny structure called thorns. So the thorns arise in the axil of a leaf or at the tip of the branch. It is modified bud. So it is a modified bud which grows into a hard, straight, woody, sharp pointed structure. So whenever the browsing animals go to eat it, they make sure that the thorns are not there. But usually, particularly some plants bear this thorns to avoid being eaten by the browsing animals. Examples, classical examples you can give is bougainvillea and rose. Rose is such a beautiful flower, but at the same time, we must make sure that thorns are there in the rose plant. So whenever we pluck it, usually we get pricked by the thorns. So what is it? Aerial stem modification. Tendril, it is a thin spirally coiled structure, branch that develops from axillary or terminal bud, and they coil around a supporter and help the plant to climbing. Classical example you can give is grape. Example, even one more example you can give is cucumber. Thorn, the thorn arises in the axil of a leaf or at the tip of a branch, and it is a modified bud which grows into a hard, straight, woody, sharp, pointed structure, that is thorn. And classical example you can give is bougainvillea and rose. Moving on to the next very important example, that is phylloclade. Hope all of you might have come across this beautiful opuntia. We usually use the word called cactus. Hope you can see the leaf phylloclade. Why it is called phylloclade? It is a flat green structure. And why you find thorns over the cactus or opuntia? In order to avoid the browsing animals. And it is thick and fleshy, filled with water. Usually opuntia grows in xerophytic conditions. What do you mean by xerophytic conditions? Where there is scarcity of water. Xeric condition means hot conditions where the temperature are extremes, like desert. Like you come across this phylloclade. Let us understand what is this phylloclade. It is again a classical example for aerial stem modification. It is a green flattened stem with distinct nodes and internodes. Phylloclade develops in many xerophytic plants where leaves are modified into spines to conserve water. See why it has undergone modification into a flat structure, so that, and it is green in color. Leaf itself, see here the stem itself is modified into leaf. Why? To carry on the process of photosynthesis. As the temperatures are extreme there, so there is scarcity of water, so it becomes flat structure, green color, to carry on the process of photosynthesis. Example is opuntia, or what we call it as cactus. Moving on to the next, cladode. Here you can see the structures. So it is a green cylindrical or flattened branch of one internode length, develops from the node of the stem or branch in the axil of a leaf. Example is asparagus. These two are the classical examples for the aerial stem modification. That is phylloclade. It is a green flattened stem with distinct nodes and internodes. Phylloclade develops in many xerophytic plants where leaves are modified into spines to conserve, not only to conserve water, to protect themselves from the browsing animals. A classical example you can take is opuntia. Commonly we use the word called cactus. Next is cladode. There it is flat structure, here it is cylindrical structure. Here you can see the cylindrical structure or flattened branch of one internode length develops from the node of the stem or a branch in the axil of a scaly leaf. Example is asparagus. Hope you have understood the stem modifications in this today's session. So it is a very, very important concept from examination point of view. All the things what we are studying in this particular chapter called morphology of flowering plants is quite interesting, and all the concepts what we study in this particular chapter we come across in our everyday life. The examples what we are studying, most of the examples we come across in our everyday life. So I'll be back with some more concepts of this very interesting chapter called morphology of flowering plants in the coming session. Till then, goodbye and thank you.